Coming up on this episode of the Upper One Podcast, today is December 21st, the winter solstice. What does that mean for Alaska, and why is today a special day? Stay tuned.
And now, podcasting from the great state of Alaska, this is the Upper One Podcast.
All right, welcome back to this episode of the Upper One Podcast. Thanks for joining me. Just a short little catch up since the last episode. Now, it's only just been a few days since we had Miss America crowned from Alaska, but I did say, we've had some freaky weather where it's been real cold. Well, just from Monday to Tuesday, today being Tuesday, the 21st of December, we got about 6 inches here in Eagle River. So when I got home today, when the graders and the plows go by, they always leave a berm on your driveway, and it knocks your head up into the top of the roof inside your car when you're going in and out of your driveway. So I got out and grabbed a shovel, even though my back doesn't like it. I knocked down some of that berm, so it wasn't so bad. Another thing that just happened, we played our last game of the first half of the Eagle River Hockey League in my season. We won't play another game till January 9th, so we got about 3 weeks off, but I finally got my first goal. So I kind of still get excited when I score goals or get assists because, I'm one of the oldest guys on the team. Of the 5 oldest, I'm the youngest of the 5, but, it's pretty exciting to outscore the younger guys when that happens. Like the game before, a week ago, the oldest guy, he scored all 3 of our goals, which is called a hat trick for those of you that don't play hockey. And for the fans that pay attention to players scoring goals, as soon as they know that player scored their 3rd goal, they throw their hats out on the ice. So it's kind of a hockey tradition. Well, not kind of, it is a hockey tradition. Even our coach that was on the bench threw his hat on the ice when that was the 3rd goal scored that game. So like I said, it's how I keep my fun with these games. I don't care that we're winning or losing, but acting like a kid and still scoring goals and doing my celebrations, which, by the way, I did do a celebration. If you pretend your stick is a bow and you have an arrow, with me being right-handed, I held my stick with my left hand, and I pretended like I was pulling the bowstring back and letting go of the arrow. So that was my hockey celebration. So again, I said today is December 21st. Today is the winter solstice, meaning it is the shortest day of the year. For those of you outside of Alaska or a lot lower on the latitude lines of the earth, you guys don't understand how many hours we have during a day. And I'm going to get back to that, or get into that a little bit later in the next segment. So, but after today, that means we're gaining daylight, so it's kind of a big deal. Also today, for those of you, again, thank you for listening to it, but for those of you that did listen to the Hobo Jim tribute episode, today would have been his 69th birthday. So there is a tribute concert going on today, and as I speak right now, we're probably about 13 minutes away from that starting. They've already opened the doors and let people in downtown Anchorage at the Denina Center. So originally they had my friend Megan, her band is called Nothing But Trouble, along with my other friend Ken Peltier, and a country singer by the name of L.V. Shane that we're going to perform, as well as our governor, Mike Dunleavy, speaking during the concert. But anyways, so LV came down with the vid a few days ago, and on short notice, the promoters got a hold of Stephen Barker and Eric Gunderson of Love and Theft, and they dropped what they were doing, I guess, and at a moment's notice, they said they'll be on a plane, so they got in yesterday on Monday, and they're here for that concert. So that's pretty cool. All the proceeds from this concert are going to Jim's wife, Cindy, as well as the proceeds from the silent auction that they're having. And what I do know, one of the things that they have there is his first guitar that he bought. That's going to go up for auction. So hopefully, like Bob Lester of K-Whale said, that, maybe that person that wins the auction, puts it in a museum, because it deserves to be there. So with that being said, I'm going to let the music flow and start this segment, what to do in Alaska during Christmas time. All right, welcome back. So I'm going to start this next segment with 11 of the best Christmas towns in Alaska. I know ideally you want to come up during the summer, you want to be able to fish, you want it to be warm, but there are quite a few things still to do in Alaska during the winter time. As I've said in the previous pods, we got Fur Rendezvous, which is our winter carnival. Well, here's a list of 11 best Christmas towns that are the most enchanting, magical Christmas towns in Alaska. And I'm going to start at the bottom of the list and go to the top, because I think the top one deserves to be mentioned last just because of where it is and the name of it. So the first town they have on this list is Nome, which most of you may know is the end and finish line of the Iditarod. It is one of the best towns. Nome is located on the southern Seward Peninsula coastline on the cuff of the Bering Sea, and it's very unique because that doesn't stop the town from celebrating the holidays in true festive fashion. They have a Christmas extravaganza at Old St. Joe's Civic Center. And then also, you can drive through the sleepy downtown streets lined with Christmas lights. Curious to learn more, if you want to know more, they do have visitors guides and stuff for this, but just like every town across the country, there people put out decorations. I don't know if, like my hometown, I don't know if it's still the same as from what I remember as a kid, but Nome is one of the more popular destinations in Alaska, and this is kind of a couple things that they do during the Christmas season. The next one is Sitka. I talked about Sitka during the Inside Passage episode. Sitka is a magic little town in southeast Alaska. It's special all year long, but has a way of coming to life on a whole new magical level during the holidays. They have community gatherings as well as enchanting sights of many homes and businesses decked out in Christmas lights. The next town is Homer, which was the topic of my last episode. Incredible community events, as well as a Christmas parade. It's impossible not to fall in love with the holidays in the halibut fishing capital of the world. The Homer Chamber of Commerce has an annual tree lighting celebration, and as well as kids can go meet Santa Claus. I would imagine, I've never been down there, but I would imagine with what they do, throughout the rest of the year, that it is a wonderful sight in this beautiful, charming, small town. Our next one is Palmer, which is just about 25 miles north of me. It's home to our Alaska State Fair. The Colony Christmas celebration and fireworks, as well as the Parade of Lights, gingerbread contest, and tons of family fun for days on end, all happen in Palmer. The Matsu Valley, which is a combination, it's, Palmer and Wasilla are literally right up against the mountain, the Talkeetna Mountains. They are kind of where the Susitna Valley comes out of the west, and the Matanuska Valley comes out of the east, so it's called the Matsu Valley. They truly know how to have a good time, no matter how cold or dark it gets. One of the cool things about some of these pictures I'm seeing is they don't just take, they take their Christmas lights from the trees. They'll take all the colors out and they'll just put white lights up, and then they'll wrap the trees so the whole trunk and the limbs are covered in lights, and they'll do that to a whole tree. And, when it's dark outside and there's hardly any pollution from the rest of the city lights, especially if they do it through like a town square or something, it's pretty beautiful. So the next one is Soldotna. Soldotna has Christmas in the Park tree lighting at Soldotna Creek Park, which is right next to the world famous Kenai River. They also have other holiday events, including the Kenai Watershed Forum Holiday Open House and the Winter Wonderland Sterling Community Center annual fundraiser. So, these small towns, Soldotna, I believe, is way smaller than my hometown. They find their ways to be festive throughout the holiday season. The next one is our capital city of Juneau. And I've never been, I've been down here during Christmas time, but not quite that close to Christmas. I was actually down there in high school during a Christmas basketball tournament, which probably was like the second week of Christmas. So I don't remember seeing too much Christmas stuff about like what I'm about to say. The boats that are still in the harbor in Juneau, they call them the floating boats. They deck them out in Christmas lights, just like I talked about wrapping the trees. They decorate the whole boat from aft to stern, port to starboard, all the masts and wheelhouses and stuff. They go all out decorating these boats. Kind of like if you've seen like the boat parade in Tampa. I'm sure most harbors have, where there's a big boat confluence. I believe it's kind of like that. Other events in Juneau include Holiday Pops concert at the Juneau and the Juneau Audubon Society Christmas bird count and potluck. And as well as one thing Juneau does, because it is a small town, they do what they call a last-minute frolic attack and gift wrapping. What that does is that encourages the residents to shop local and enjoy the magic of the season from the comfort and convenience of their backyard. Which, with things going on these days right now, I would encourage everybody to shop local because, they're your neighbors. You're helping them out. So if you don't shop local, you don't have the Alan Jackson song, "Small Town Southern Man." That's pretty much what that's all about. Anyhow, number 5 is Cordova. Cordova is a sweet little isolated town. They transform with Christmas lights, as well as have their Chamber of Commerce, Christmas tree lighting, and Santa parade. I've been to Cordova. It's a really small town. I think there's one road, and it's not very long. So, you could probably drive down one side and look at the businesses and homes and stuff with the lights and stuff on one side, then turn around and go back the other way just to make, to draw that out. Number 4 is Fairbanks. Fairbanks is known as the Golden Heart City. And I plan on doing an episode on Fairbanks later. Fairbanks has holiday bazaars at Pioneer Park, the celebration of lights, fireworks, or the winter solstice walk. One of the other things Fairbanks does, and I've never been up there, is they do have ice carvings. And I don't know how long that lasts. I would imagine, as cold as it is, they could start it in November and they'll still be there in May when things start melting, but I don't know that for sure. Number 3 is Kenai. Kenai is 5 miles away from Soldotna. One of the things they have there is Christmas Comes to Kenai. It's a magical takeover that is full of life, love, and holiday magic. The parade and fun activities, perfect way to ring in the holiday season with the whole family. Again, another small town bringing out the festivities of the holiday season. One of their things with Christmas is they either go big or go home. And, when you small towns like that and you got all the people that live there going big or going home, I imagine it's a sight to see. Number 2 is Anchorage. We have ice sculptures here as well. Fascinating lights displays in downtown. Also, one of the things you could do is ride some of the coastal trails there. There are a lot of activities. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. You can ride your bikes on the coastal trails in the wintertime. I think they are maintained. So if you cross-country ski, you've got the same trails to enjoy this city. There are also basically like when they're selling homes, they call it the Parade of Homes. So it's kind of the Parade of Lights as well, where people will register their house. I mean, if you've seen How the Grinch Stole Christmas, where Cindy Lou Who's mom was competing with the neighbor on who could decorate their house more. It's kind of like that. They decorate their homes, they register them, and then I think our Chamber of Commerce or whatever it is downtown will put out a map to where you can drive through and see these homes that are decorated. Like I said, the Anchorage Coastal Wildlife Refuge has got trails where you can cross country. Well, even with today there's those fat tire bikes. You could ride those in the snow and get around town pretty good. Or, like I said, cross country ski and have a pretty memorable adventure. Last but not least, when you think of Christmas, you think of Santa Claus. Well, we do have a town. It's about 11 miles or 13 miles southeast of Fairbanks. It's called North Pole. In the North Pole, there is located at 101 St. Nicholas Drive. Imagine that. And you can guess, is the Santa Claus house. You could actually meet the man himself. I've actually been there. It is probably the most magical address of that place in any place in Christmas history. The North Pole also has the Christmas on Ice event that runs throughout the holidays. Those are also ice sculptures, and you can imagine, I'm using this as an example. If you smelt metals, you smelt them down into the forms. When you get them out of the forms, you clean them up and buff them down to where, like a ingot, gold ingot or silver, no matter what, aluminum. You smelt them down and then you buff them out and they become real shiny. Well, they do the same thing with the ice. They'll come out and they'll chainsaw them up and they'll do their carvings, and then they will go back and they will buff them, and you could virtually see through these ice sculptures, see that it is clear ice. So that's one of the things with those ice sculptures there in the North Pole as well. So, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. The whole state turns into epic winter wonderland paradises, as well as this is when the snow flies. That means the year's coming to an end. Christmas is almost here. My mom's favorite song, if I remember when I lived back home, was I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. Well, we have white Christmases every year up here. I don't have to sing that song and wish about it. So, well, that's pretty much 11 of the towns in Alaska, the most enchanting, magical Christmas towns. That's about it for me for Christmas. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. And yes, I said Merry. I'm going to come back in the next segment and we will talk about a few more holiday traditions, mostly centered in Anchorage, and events as well. And then I will finish up with the winter solstice.